Last week on a 60 Minutes Classic special, we revisited an extraordinary group of people with a condition known as Savant Syndrome. It's a spectacular skill that occurs in autistic or retarded children. Their intellectual gifts may be small, but their brilliance is boundless. In tonight's 60 Minutes Classic, we bring you up to date on one of those people, George Finn, a man blessed with a talent of calendar calculation. He can give you the day if you give him a date, or the date if you give him the day, from the year 1 to infinity. If it sounds familiar, there's a reason. 5 years after our original broadcast, Dustin Hoffman immortalized George in the movie Rain Man. But when we first met him in 1983, he was 43 years old and a patient at a New York psychiatric center.
What day of the week was August 13th, 1911?
Sunday.
What day of the week was May 20th, 1921?
Friday.
What day of the week is February 3rd in the year 2068?
That will fall on a Friday.
What date was the third Saturday in October in 1945?
It was on the 20th.
What day of the week was May 30th in the year 1?
May 30th, the year 1 was on a Wednesday.
This is remarkable, George. You got every one of these right.
Right.
What makes his talent so extraordinary is that with his limited intellectual capabilities, he cannot multiply even the simplest numbers.
I'd like to try some math questions, if you don't mind.
No.
Some arithmetic. Can you do 3 times 2?
3 times 2 is, is it, 7, is it?
Or how about 5 times 7?
5 times 7 might be 50.
Besides calculating days and dates, George also remembers the weather for each day of his adult life. We checked him against the Weather Service, and of course he was right.
November 3rd, 1958. What kind of day was it?
It was on a cloudy day. It was on a Monday. It was cloudy that day. That's right.
It was?
And it was snow flurries that morning. Very cold. Little bit of raindrops, too.
Windy?
Yes, windy.
How about May 22nd, 1940?
That fell on a Wednesday.
What was the weather like?
I can't tell. It was only a baby, infant baby.
Do you know how you do it?
I don't know, but that's fantastic. I can do that.
Well, you're remarkable. It's been a great pleasure to meet you.
I'm glad. What's your name again?
Morley.
Morley, and I'm glad to meet you. I will remember this day as long as I live.
Well, perhaps not as vividly as George Finn, but we remember it too. And we were curious about how this remarkable man was doing now, 16 years later. George, do you remember the last time we met?
Tuesday, April 5th.
George Finn is 59 now and still at the top of his game. Truly a man for all seasons. Remember what the weather was like?
Warm and sunny. That a day I'll never, ever forget.
In the past 16 years, George's life has changed dramatically.
Morning, George.
Fine.
He has a full-time job delivering packages for the New York League for Retarded Children.
And drop this off at the mailroom to get the work.
And to his great delight, he no longer lives in an institution. He shares an apartment with 2 other men in similar circumstances. He could not be more proud of his ability to live an independent life.
Look how it came out.
I'd like to ask you a few more questions.
Yeah.
Things that you might be able to still do.
Yeah.
For example, what day was May 7th, 1918?
That was on a Tuesday.
What years after that did May 7th fall on a Tuesday? Say in the next 65 years.
In 1929, 1935, 1940, 1946, 1957, 63, 68, 74, 85, and 91 and 96.
Perfect. Perfect.
See,
Listen, let me ask you something. You know, most people forget things,
I know.
but you don't.
Never.
For example, try a few of these questions on your neighborhood presidential scholar.
Remember George Washington's birthday? His actual birthday.
When he was born, February 22nd, 1732,
What day was that?
Friday.
What day did he die?
December 14th, 1799, Saturday.
Do you remember the date that President Lincoln was born?
He was born February 12th, 1809, on a Sunday. And he was assassinated by a bad guy named John Booth on Friday, April 14th, 1865.
George, do you understand how impressed people are by your talent?
Yeah, I know they are.
Hollywood was impressed too. In 1988, the movie Rain Man was made. Dustin Hoffman will never forget it. He won an Academy Award. And George, of course, forgets nothing.
Do you remember what you were doing on January 14th, 1989?
89, I was going to the movie theater in the Bronx, seeing the movie Rain Man. I won't forget that day. Never.
What did you think of that movie?
It's a nice movie, made after me.
When did you leave?
January 21st, 1965.
You remember
It's
that?
Thursday, very snowy out. 7.2 inches of snow that day.
Geez, that's just after Mom died, New Year's.
Yeah, Mom died January 5th, 1965.
And you remember
After.
that day? You remember that day that you left?
Short and sudden illness.
You remember that day
Yeah.
that you left?
Yeah.
Was I there? Where was I?
You were in the window. You waved to me. Bye-bye, Rain Man. Bye-bye, Rain Man.
You think that Mr. Hoffman did a pretty good job of portraying you?
Yes, yes. That was good.
Thank you, George. It was great meeting you again.
Yeah, and Mr. Safer,
Maybe we should do this in another 10 or 15 years.
I'll remember.
And so will we.
Oh, kiss me like
With his limitations, nature in many ways made a prisoner of George Finn. At the same time, it gave him a talent, a power to tear down the fences.
Don't fence me. Let me be by my side in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmurs of the cottonwood trees. Turn me up forever that I ask you, please. Don't fence me in.
60 Minutes 2 will continue in a moment.
CBS Market Watch Update, sponsored by Charles Schwab.
Good evening. On Wall Street, stocks soared today. Another record close for the Dow. Banking and oil stocks leading the charge. NASDAQ was also up. The government will study how the proposed Exxon-Mobil merger would affect competition. And a proposed merger in France would create the world's biggest and first trillion-dollar bank. I'm Anthony Mason, CBS News.
I've had an IRA account at Schwab for over 15 years now, and I use Schwab.com to manage it. I found it very easy to buy my no-load mutual funds through it, and I also look after the joint account for my wife and myself. I have a sister who's prefer to have me manage her account, and I do that. And I use Schwab.com all the time. Makes it very efficient in terms of use of time. And I think they're all happy with the results.
Market Watch Update from CBS News.
Nature made me a person of many parts. Nature made me determined to make all of them last. And thankfully, to help, there are premium quality nature-made vitamins and herbs, like vitamin E, which research shows can help keep my heart healthy. There's no stopping me, because nature made me.
If this is you, communications has finally caught up with the way you live. Introducing AT&T Personal Network. All the ways you want to communicate in one network. Long distance, calling card, even wireless. It doesn't matter, because now they're at the same low rate of just 10 cents a minute, plus internet access. So call 1-800-4ATT now, or visit our website, AT&T Personal Network. 10 cents a minute, no matter how you call. Call 1-800-4ATT now.
I love this. This is what college basketball is all about. State and Tech are tied. Williams going to the line. As you talk about pressure.
It's Nissan's Tournament Time Sales Event. Your big chance to get a great deal on a 99 Nissan. Like $2,000 cash back on the powerful 190 horsepower Nissan Maxima. Or $2,000 cash back on the rugged Nissan Pathfinder. So drop whatever you're doing, because the Tournament Time Sales Event ends March 31st.
Brooks Brothers Eyewear by Luxottica. What do you want people to see?
I want you to see wisdom. Yeah, lucky man.
I want you to see that tradition doesn't have to be traditional.
Ask for the latest Brooks Brothers styles by Luxottica. A new fuel has arrived. The Kellogg's cereals kids love are now enriched with K-Essentials, a special combination of vitamins and minerals, so kids get more of what they need to be healthy, more of what they need to be kids. What does your cereal do for you? K-Essentials, only from Kellogg's.
Bet you're gonna freeze some for later.
Bet not. My freezer is tiny.
Well, Sears has all appliances and electronics on sale.
Wow.
And if they're over $399, get 0% finance charge till January 2000 with your Sears card.
So I can freeze my payments.
If you hurry. And Saturday.
If you had something else to do last Wednesday night, you weren't alone. Jimmy Tingle spent the evening watching what almost everyone else was watching and came away with a little uncommon sense.
I watched that Monica Lewinsky interview last week along with